Please be advised that all video and audio recordings were completed before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Black Female Project.
Hello, and welcome back to the Black Female Project podcast. In this episode, we're interviewing Mercedes Scott. She's a current medical school student and someone who's extremely committed to providing the best care for women. Mercedes takes us on her journey from her early childhood education to her current life in medical school. And one of the things I noticed that was the most consistent throughout every stage of her life was the group of strong Black women who continuously encouraged her and kept her motivated throughout her journey. Welcome.
Thank you.
So the first thing I want to ask you, tell me about your background, because you're doing demanding work, coursework, and your background and how you came up wasn't no crystal stair, as they say.
No. So I grew up in a single parent household with my mother and two siblings. My sister is 12 years older than me. My brother is 9 years older than me.
The baby?
I'm the baby, the real baby.
Yeah.
And so my father was in and out of prison for various reasons throughout my childhood, so we don't really have a relationship. But my mother, she's a teacher, and so she always instilled the importance of education. And my most fond memories of her were we would always read together and play games. And because she's a math teacher, when we would go to the grocery store, she would say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. This is how much I'm going to pay. If you can figure out the difference, you can keep the change. So I became So I became really good in math, so I could always keep the change.
Oh.
So we just played various fun games that got me really interested in education. So we grew up in South Central Los Angeles. So she was a teacher at Compton High School. So I drove with her. A math teacher. Yes. Algebra, yeah. But now she teaches environmental science. Yeah.
She does?
Mm-hmm.
At
Compton High School. Mm-hmm.
Environmental science?
Environmental science.
That's interesting.
We will. Yeah, so I would drive with her from LA to Compton, and then I would take the bus from Compton to Cerritos to go to school.
How long did it take you?
I had to wake up at 5 and school didn't start till 8. And so it was definitely a mission. And for most of my childhood, I was the only Black kid in the whole grade. And so it was definitely an interesting experience. I knew early on that I was not white. It was traumatizing at times. I didn't have very many friends. They didn't want to play with me. They didn't want to eat lunch with me.
You're such a nice person.
Now. I may not have been the nicest then. But yeah, so it was definitely hard at first. And so I think because of not having friends and not having that social environment, it made it really hard to go to school and to learn. So I honestly didn't get good grades at first. I didn't even know how to study. And then...
How'd you learn?
It was actually in 6th grade. I'll never forget this girl named Jenny Kai.
Jenny Kai.
And we got a test and she got an A and I didn't get an A. And I was like, how do you get an A? And she was like, well, I just read the papers that the teachers gave us. And I was like, what? You read those? Like, I had no idea. She's like, yeah, you read them, you study them, you learn from them. And then that's how you do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try that next year. So then in middle school, I tried it. And then from then on, I got straight A's throughout middle school and high school.
You found out how intelligent
you were.
And
I find out, and how to study.
Wow, that's it. You know what? I never even thought about that, not knowing how to study. Because both my parents are academics, and so that's all we ever did, But it was, my second home was the library, and I'm so thankful to my parents for that, Because I feel like I could go anywhere, find out anything I wanted, and I always would talk to the librarians, and they would, talk to me and point me in the right direction.
Right.
I just think, I love libraries, and I just think they're an underused resource.
I agree. Definitely now in this day and age with everything being online.
I'm just very impressed with you. because you're taking demanding academic courses from somebody who said didn't know how to study.
I know.
Wow. Aren't you? I'd be walking around like, I got it now. I think that's marvelous.
Thank you.
What did your mother say when you started pulling straight A's?
She was very proud of me, and I would get paid for every A that I got.
Oh, back to the math.
Back to the money. Back to math and money. That's been my incentive.
Whatever, you know what? Right on. That's cool. So tell me, why did you want to get into medicine and become a doctor? Because, it takes a long time.
Yeah. My family has, we suffer from a disease called Huntington's disease, which is a neurological disorder that affects a person's mind and their motor, and a lot of my family members suffer from this.
Is it kind of an ALS thing?
Similar, but it's, you know how Parkinson's is like rigidity and you're like not able to move? When we learn in med school, so Parkinson's is over here and then Huntington's is on the other end of the spectrum. It's constant moving, unable to control it, so then they can't feed themselves, they can't walk. Pretty soon their esophagus isn't able to be controlled, so then they're not able to eat and they have to be fed through a feeding tube. So it's a very detrimental disease, and you just see like family members deteriorate in front of you. And so that was my first initial exposure to medicine, and I think that a lot of my family members who suffer from this, we didn't even know that it was a disease in our family initially, and I think that growing up in LA and contributing so many things to alcoholism and to drugs, that we just thought like, oh, she's just on drugs, or oh, she's just drunk. But no, it was actually the disease manifesting itself, and maybe she was drunk and on drugs, and maybe it was a combination of both, but it was definitely partially due to the disease. And so that was my initial passion of getting into medicine, because I didn't understand why my family members didn't know what this was. I didn't understand why it was affecting us specifically, and I just wanted to be able to be an advocate so that we can, just know more about how our health is being impacted.
Now, we were talking earlier, and you're very passionate about helping the underserved community.
Yes.
Could you address that?
So I would say that the majority of my family is from an underserved community. Growing up in South LA, we have like what's called food deserts. And so that's where you don't have access to high quality fresh fruits.
Fruits and vegetables.
Exactly. So there's a liquor store in every corner, and then when you want to go to food, the only supermarket is maybe a Superior.
What's a Superior?
Superior is like a produce store that has, it's very big, it has lots of produce, but the majority of them are rotten because they get it very cheap when like the other grocery stores don't want them.
Okay.
Or they get it at a cheaper price for bulk, and so a lot of them are like rotten. And so you don't even have access to good quality foods, but then you have McDonald's right across the street and Taco Bell, and all these things are cheap and they're easy. And so a lot of mothers, are feeding their babies this, and it's not the best diet. But I mean, what can they do if they don't even have access to a quality store?
Because don't you think, I'm asking you as a health professional, that nutrition is basically where it's at? It's
for sure, I would say, very, very important, if not the most important thing.
And like, I was looking at, I haven't surfed the web a lot. I was looking at obesity rates. In our community, I think we're number one in that stat. And Latino, close behind her.
For sure.
And you think that, I think maybe that's kind of a byproduct of what you're talking about, not healthy food.
Right, and then also just the built environment in general. If you don't have access to sidewalks, then how can you walk? Or ride your bike? Or if there are stray dogs everywhere, or if there's gang violence, then you don't feel safe or comfortable. So I think all these factors definitely play a role and affect a person's health overall.
Tell me about your master's program at UC Berkeley.
Okay, so this has been a very rewarding experience. Yes. So I'm doing an interdisciplinary master's in public health. And so that's basically just, it's for a dual degree candidate. So since I'm a MD candidate also, then it's a 1-year program. Yeah. So
how do you have time to talk to us?
I have no idea. No, I have gotten much better with time management. And so that has been very rewarding. I guess learning self-care and how to study has been like the best experience that I've had during this year off. It's definitely taking time for self-care. But they have a specialty track on maternal, child, and adolescent health.
Maternal, child, and adolescent health.
And that's where I was able to learn so much about Black mothers. And then that's what kind of has increased my passion to help Black mothers, because I learned that Black mothers are dying at higher rates than any other race during and after pregnancy. And for the United States to be such a developed country, I just feel like there's just so much more that we should be doing, and that Black mothers shouldn't be dying at these high rates. And I think what's most disturbing is that we don't talk about this in medical school. And so I feel like there's a discrepancy there, because how can we be providers and we're supposed to serve communities, and we don't even know that we should be paying sensitive care to Black mothers in general, but to specifically Black mothers who are dying at alarming rates.
Why is healthcare so expensive?
Do you notice something missing right now? That something is you. We would love to have you sponsor the podcast and share your work with our Black Female Project family. To learn more, email info@blackfemaleproject.org. Now, back to our episode.
Because I think that's part of the reason people don't have access.
Yeah.
Addresses those statistics.
Right. I think it's expensive for a variety of reasons, mainly because I think it's a money-making business. Insurance companies. The medical world is advancing, so now instead of, if you wanted surgery, they could do laparoscopically, which means like it's a robot. So all these things cost money. Drugs, pharmaceutical company is large, a huge portion. And so I think that these are part of the reasons that healthcare is so high. And then people who do have access may like overly use it. And so just all these various reasons definitely contribute.
So how would you make some changes? What would you do?
What would I do?
Simple question, right?
I think we need universal health care.
Who's going to pay for it?
I think we all should. Everyone who's able to should pay. We already pay so much already. Why can't everyone have access? Other countries do it.
I'm excited for your future. It seems like you might get into environmental health. So now, give me your 10-year plan.
Whew. My 10-year plan. So I want to be an OBGYN. And similar to what you said when you talked about, like, you see me with my own gym and with food, I definitely, as a doctor, I want to treat the whole person. And so I would like to provide a place where my patients can exercise. And then with my sister being a chef, I would love for her to be able to teach like how to make healthy meals. And so I think that would be a great component where they could have, free cooking classes. And at Kaiser's and some hospitals, they have farmers markets like in the front of the hospitals. So I think that's definitely a step in the right direction to providing patients with healthy foods, and it's right there. You're already at the hospital, so it's just you don't have to go anywhere else.
It's user friendly. And then you get your concept down, then you can franchise it.
Exactly.
So how do we get a hold of you to talk? Do you have a website or email or?
I'm very low key. I have an email, but I have no social media.
Okay.
But yeah, you can email me, you can call me, you can contact me anytime.
And your email?
And my email is mercedesmscott@gmail.com.
Okay. We'll put it on the screen too.
Okay.
Well, I tell you, I just feel uplifted and a little more healthy talking to you.
Thank you.
And I think that Black healthcare, I look at somebody like you, a female, future's very bright. And I want to thank you so much for all your hard work and your effort and your passion. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming by to the Black Female Project.
Of course.
Oh, you know what? I have a question.
Yeah.
I ask this question to everybody. Who would you put on your Black female Mount Rushmore?
I would definitely have to put my mother. She has been a huge support system to me. I feel like when I was younger, I didn't understand why I was at this private school, why I was the only Black kid. And then now, looking back, I see that I'm the only one out of my neighborhood who made it out, who doesn't have a baby right now. And so I thank her often. At first I didn't understand, but now I see that you're just trying to provide me with a better life.
Yeah. God bless mamas, huh?
For sure. Mamas are the best.
Yes, they are.
Mercedes says something really interesting. Her mom was a teacher at a public school in a predominantly Black, Indigenous, people of color area and chose to send her to a private school where she was often the only Black student in her classes. And while it was very hard for her, seeing where she is now, she sees the choices that her mom made meant giving her better opportunities. And she also notes how, even now, her aunts, her sister, and other women continue to strengthen her so that she can help women improve their health so that they may have the best lives. So as you listen to this episode, feel the passion and enjoy the insight Mercedes shares. And when done, take a moment to thank the strong Black women in your life.
Now, who else?
Who else? So my whole family is strong Black women.
Okay.
So next, I would definitely have to say my aunt.
Okay.
She, Auntie Alicia, she has been a huge support as well throughout this process. I have called her through every step of the way, crying, wanting to quit, and she has encouraged me each time to keep going. She always says, Mija, you can do this. Everything is going to be hard, but we're here, whatever you need. Do you need money? Do you need food? So it's definitely been very rewarding to have such strong Black women on my side. Every day, supporting me through and encouraging me to know that I can make it.
Well, thank you for that, and I agree with you. And we'll be back with another edition of Black Female Project. Mercedes, I like how you roll.
Black Female Project.
We invite you to learn more about the women in this episode, Black Female Project, and ways to support the project by going to www.blackfemaleproject.org.